They're saying that the Supreme Court has eviscerated the rights and endangered Americans. What do you think is going on inside the womb? Yo, this is Mike's Lifestyle Tips and Reactions, and today's video is going to be a little bit more serious. This week has been a historic week for our nation here in the United States. Roe versus Wade has been overturned. Many people will be affected, many people will be upset and outraged. I'm interested in hearing what Ben Shapiro has to say, so let's go ahead and I'll interject and respond in between.
Pelosi is sounding off, saying that she's having a bad morning. Well, you know, for the rest of the country, Nancy Pelosi having a bad morning is actually quite a good morning. Here is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, but not for long.
There's no point in saying good morning, because it certainly is not one.
Okay, why
this morning,
not,
the radical Supreme Court is eviscerating Americans' rights and endangering their health and safety. But the
Stop. Let's. I know this is a serious issue, so I'm going to handle this as best as I can. For now, they're the radical Supreme Court. These guys wanted to add in, 13 or 20 more judges onto the Supreme Court, but now all of a sudden, when they get a ruling, that's not what they want. Now the ruling is radical. Think about that. Also, they're saying that the Supreme Court has eviscerated the rights and endangered Americans. What do you think is going on inside the womb?
But the Congress will continue to act to overcome this extremism and protect the American people. Today, the Republican-controlled Supreme Court has achieved their dark, extreme goal of ripping away a woman's right to make their own reproductive health decisions.
Okay, I mean, the language here, the radicals, it's a dark day. Congress will now have to vote. Wait, aren't you the Speaker of the House? Like over here? Aren't you like the head of the House of Representatives? And you're decrying the ability that you now have the ability to vote on an issue you didn't have the ability to vote on yesterday. Well, you have the irrepressibly stupid Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She went down to the Supreme Court doing what she does best, yelling and agitating and with no actual, remedy in mind. She's having such a good time. She's so happy.
Why is she smiling? Why is she smiling? It's like she's down there just to amp it up.
Okay, in the streets is what she's yelling right there. In the streets.
And she's like,
and illegitimate.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court, so it was only illegitimate the minute that she lost.
Right.
Maxine Waters says, to hell with the Supreme Court, we will defy them. Okay, good luck with that. Wow. Meanwhile, Rob Bonta, the Attorney General in the state of California.
So with Maxine Waters saying to defy the Supreme Court, I just want to get this straight. So if the Supreme Court makes a ruling that we ought to protect babies in the womb, that the babies within the womb have the right to live, you're going to ignore that and still kill and destroy the babies anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, if the Supreme Court rules that 2 men can get married or 2 women can get married, and a Christian says, hey, listen, a Christian baker says, no, listen, I will bake you the cake, but I will not put homosexual insignia on top of the cake, then now we got to cram down the rule of law on him. Absolutely unbelievable. Can't defy that, though. All right.
Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer says, today is one of the darkest days our country has ever seen, ever in history. So just to note, our country has seen a civil war in which hundreds of thousands of Americans were slain over whether black people would get to be treated as human beings rather than property.
Right.
This country saw lynchings for like a century. This country saw Japanese rounded up and interned during World War II. This country saw eugenicist sterilization of what they termed the mentally unfit in the 1920s. This country saw actual religious war in parts of the West.
Mm-hmm.
Ranging from Missouri to Utah. Like, there have been some real bad days in American history. Like some seriously horrible days. This day, when the Supreme Court said, not our business, and all the law reversed, that's one of the darkest days in American history, according to
saying in states that they can arrest doctors and all the rest. What is happening here? What is happening here? A woman's fundamental health decisions are her own to make in consultation with her doctor.
Wait, stop. Her faith? I'm sorry, what? Okay. I do believe that abortion is murder. Absolutely, without question. What I do not believe is that the general woman understands what she's doing with that child. I'm not convinced. However, for the doctors who went to school for years and years and years in order to get their doctorate, and who understand the science and the genetics of the DNA that is inside of that womb, to me, life in prison is too light of a sentence. You know what you're doing. To me, that doctor deserves capital punishment, period. You know exactly what you're doing.
Faith, her family, not some right-wing politicians, Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell.
It's her family. Then why did she get to murder a family member of hers?
Republicans seek to punish and control women, Democrats will keep fighting ferociously to enshrine Roe v. Wade into the law of the land.
Okay.
And pretended that federalism doesn't exist in the United States. It does. Now again, would I prefer that there is federal legislation protecting the lives of the unborn? Sure. Would I prefer there was a constitutional amendment, which is what I think it really would take in order to protect the lives of the unborn? Absolutely. And the constitutional amendment, by the way, on a legal level, is the proper response here. A constitutional amendment protecting federally the lives of the unborn is what the right should seek. They should seek state-level legislation locally. Going just to Congress and saying we want to protect the lives of the unborn by passing, some sort of broad abortion act. The problem with that is that it lasts for about 5 minutes, and it's unclear what the scope of Congress's actual authority is in regulating intrastate issues like criminal law, for example. Now, I understand that we've completely obliterated the sort of restrictions on what the federal government can do. The federal government can now regulate how many gallons of water you use in your shower every day.
That's nice.
But, from a sort of classical constitutional point of view, this was the purview of the state. So if you wish to do this federally, really we should be seeking a constitutional amendment. But I'm absolutely flabbergasted by members of the Democratic Congress saying, how dare you kick this issue back to us where we can argue it? See, here's the thing. The left doesn't like arguments. They don't like arguments. They're not interested in arguments.
Wherever you land on this argument, wherever you land on this issue, you got to be careful. Here's why. Because if you're conservative, you can look at the people who are in the middle, the people who are struggling and who are really trying to grapple with this decision. You can look at them through the lens of these shady politicians and through the lens of the hollering, screaming, blue-haired chick that's at the abortion mill encouraging people to shout their abortions, right? You look at all the people here in the middle through the lens of the blue-haired chick or the shady politicians who are just absolutely corrupt, okay? And then the problem is, for the liberals will often look at the typical conservative who's trying to be thoughtful about this and who actually just cares about the baby on the inside of the womb. You look at that person through the lens of, say, that Southern Baptist church they hate everybody, including people that look like me. They hate everybody. Okay, so I think we have to be tempered. All right, we have to be tempered. We have to be thoughtful, considerate, and caring about people on both sides of the issue, no matter where we fall in the issue. And I myself have failed severely at this. But you pick yourself back up and then you recognize, hey, you know what? Because this other person is made in God's image, I have more in common with them that I can hold fast to than I don't have in common with them in terms of my ideology. I think if you really care about this issue, then you ought to put your money where your mouth is, or put your feet where your mouth is. There is a really, really good organization that I myself know. I really like these guys. These guys are awesome. EndAbortionNow.com.
Urban with Apologia Church and EndAbortionNow.com. Recently, we launched EndAbortionNow.com, and since that time, over 115 local churches from across the United States have logged on to endabortionnow.com, have got onto the website to get their free resources, their free training. And we just finished actually End Abortion Now, the conference. We had pastors, leaders, Christians from across the United States, from Alaska to Florida, from New York to Los Angeles. We came together in Phoenix, Arizona to mobilize, to fellowship, to get on the mission together to bring the gospel to abortion clinics across the United States and to speak prophetically to our legislatures to criminalize abortion at the state level. It truly is humbling and amazing to be part of such an amazing gospel-centered movement. Christians across the country bringing the gospel to the abortion mills to save the lives of children, to bring the gospel to mothers and fathers who are considering murdering their children, and to speak together as one voice that abortion is murder and that our legislatures should criminalize it immediately and save the lives of the preborn.
Go there. You can partner alongside these guys. You can either donate, or these guys will come to your church or your ministry or whatever, and they will help give you guys equipment. They will train you guys and teach you guys how to lovingly and compassionately reach people within your neighborhood, within these troubled areas, for people who are struggling with this decision. Let us know what you guys think about this down below. If you type anything crazy or rude or nonsensical, you will be removed. Period. I will not be playing them games from either side. We need to keep this discourse respectful, loving, considerate, or else, like I said, you will get the deuce. But you guys know what it is. Until next time, peace.